Hi, everyone. My name is Debbie Asmus. Welcome to our 6-week series for low back and hip pain. Just a couple housekeeping things in case you didn't get the memo. Some props that you could have. You don't have to. They're optional. You can do everything without them. And I actually forgot some of mine. I left them at my office. But if you have a yoga strap or a scarf of some kind, a towel, something long, great. A yoga block. It's that I have a wood one right there. Typically, I say have two. For the purposes of this class, one is probably fine. If you don't have a block, a big, thick, heavy book works. Couch cushions work really great for bolsters and or pillows. Okay. I'm going to suggest when you're watching this to put your Zoom in speaker mode so that you just see me. Okay. I have a TV screen up here that you guys can't see, but if I'm looking up in that direction, it's because I'm looking at you if you're choosing to be on screen. And I will say it might be nice just because this is pretty specific in terms of alignment. In fact, the purpose, I'm reading this, the purpose or the focus of this class, I wrote out that it's to build awareness of your alignment and to build stability in our hips and low backs. So that said, we'll be doing some core work. We'll be doing some light stretching. We'll be getting into some deeper, more yin style poses, which are holding the poses for longer times to allow our connective tissue to lengthen. We are primarily going to be on the ground the whole time. This is not an active vinyasa practice, but the core work might not be easy, but we've got 6 weeks to build it up. Okay. So if at any time you don't want to do anything, by all means, don't. We can always, if you have a burning question, feel free to shout it out. Okay. If you need to turn your audio on. Otherwise, I would turn your audio off. And I think that is it. I think that's it for my housekeeping. So I'm going to move back to my mat and we will go from there. Oh, I know what I was going to say. We're going to end with Yoga Nidra. Yeah, you're okay. Yoga Nidra is yogic sleep. Okay, so I'm a fan of the idea that we really can't heal our bodies if our minds are also not healed. Okay. So Yoga Nidra is yogic sleep. It's like Shavasana on steroids. It is a guided meditation that takes you through 5 different layers of consciousness. It's amazing. I will typically try to end with like a 10 to 15 minutes. If people are like loving that piece, we can talk about extending, beyond the hour just to allow that. But I know a lot of you guys are on the East Coast and it's getting late for you as it is, but you can always just go Yoga Nidra to bed or stay where you are, fall asleep where you are. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to start laying on our mats. I'm going to just walk back to the mat. I just want to be able to see you guys. Okay, I can. And you guys can hear me okay, yeah? Volume is good? Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to have you guys, we're going to lay down on our mats, on our backs. You're going to bring your feet outer hip width apart. You can't really see me, so I'm going to turn this way. Okay, my feet are outer hip width apart, and I'm going to knock my knees in towards each other. All right, can you see that? And then I'm going to bring my hands, honestly, wherever feels comfortable to you. I think it's nice to place your hands on your body. Give yourself just a tiny little bit of self-love just right here, just touching your body, hands on the belly. You could bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your low ribs. If you prefer, arms out at a cactus can be nice, whatever you want. And we're just going to take a moment here to focus Well, first to arrive in this space, okay? Maybe it's been a super long day. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you still have 100 things that you're thinking about. But we're going to just leave all of those outside of the room that you're in right now. All right? They might still be there when you come out of this room. They might still be there tomorrow, but perhaps you'll come to it from a different vantage point. Perhaps not. But either way, we're not going to worry about it right now. Okay? This is your time to spend on yourself. Self-care. As Sharanda said earlier, I am the queen of self-care. So take this time for yourself. And as you're settling in here, allowing your body to feel really supported by the earth underneath you, knowing that nothing else needs to happen. And perhaps you can notice the sounds around you, elsewhere in your home, even in the room that you're in now. Likely to hear that more than anything. I can hear something dripping outside my window, and whatever it is, and you just notice it and you leave it there. And then you can come into the space you're in. Perhaps you have some music playing. Perhaps you can hear a heater or an air conditioner, depending on weather. The hum of a light. And keeping your eyes closed, visualize the space that you're in. Notice where the door to the room is. If there's a window, where the window is. If there's furnishings or equipment, where are those in relation to the space that you're in? And then we'll begin to focus on our breath. And you have, if you don't already, go ahead and bring your hands to your belly. And we're going to inhale just into the belly, like fill it up. Inhale, fill it up like a big balloon. And then exhale, release that belly, let it empty. Again, inhale, fill, 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 fill. Feel that belly rise with your hands. And exhale, let it empty. Now take your hands to your low ribs. And this time as you inhale, feel the ribs rise up. And exhale, feel the ribs deflate. Again, inhale, fill, 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 fill. And maybe the belly rises too. In fact, it probably does, and that's good. That's okay. Exhale, allow the ribs to deflate. One more like that. Inhale, fill, 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 fill. And exhale. This time, hands to your chest, that heart space, that energetic heart, like in the middle of your chest, because really the heart's over to the right. And inhale, fill, fill, fill the heart space. And exhale. Inhale, fill, fill, fill. Maybe even a little more. And exhale. One more. Inhale, fill. And exhale. This time you're going to keep your left hand at the heart space, right hand on the belly. And we're going to inhale into the belly, up into the low ribs, up into the chest. As you exhale, the chest deflates, the low ribs come in, and the belly empties. We'll inhale for 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, belly, low ribs, chest. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Couple more on your own breath pattern. If that 4 count's not working for you, find one that is. Just really feeling the rise and fall of your breath. And notice how maybe already your heart rate has slowed down a tiny bit. Finish the breath you're on and do one more round. Bring your arms at your side when you're done so that I know that you're ready. Awesome. You're going to heel toe your feet slightly in so they're about inner hip width apart. So inner hip is at the top of your torso here. You feel those bones on the top, okay? Those are the hips that we're going to align our knees and our feet with. And then you can bring your feet slightly in towards your hips. It doesn't have to be super close. And we're actually going to start just with some pelvic. Actually, I'm going to walk my feet out a little bit. I brought them in too close. So figure out what's comfortable for you. We're going to just do some pelvic tilts away from you and then curl it back up. Hips stay on the ground and you're reaching your pubic bone away from you and then you're curling it up towards your head. All right, so sort of giving yourself a little low back sacral massage here. And what I'm going to suggest is to actually slow it down. So you're going to inhale, let's tilt it away. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, tilt it away. And it's a small movement. You're not going to really even see me move. My hips are not coming up off the ground. I'm just moving the pelvis back and forth, nice and slowly. Just do a couple more of those. And then you're going to find a neutral spot. So you're neither tilted nor curled. All right. And if you were to put a hand underneath your low back, maybe like one finger would fit under there, maybe two. But if it's more than two, I would sort of flatten your spine out slightly. Okay. So this is something I like to teach all my students, frankly, in any class that I teach, is how to activate your core when you're going to do core work. So you're going to take your peace fingers, okay? You're going to place them on those hip bones that I spoke about earlier, all right? They're there. We can feel them. And if we can't feel them, you visualize them, okay? They're there, all right? And then we're going to pretend to pull them together. I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm just like sit up. You're going to pretend to pull them together. As you do, you're going to pull your fingers off those bones towards the midline, and you should feel that muscle contract under there, and that's your transverse abdominis. We call that closing the book because it starts here and it wraps around and it sort of protects everything. It really helps protect the low back. Okay? Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Love it. Okay. So release everything. We're just like, shake it out, do some windshield wipers left and right. And then come back to our inner hip, feet at the inner hip width apart. A couple pelvic tilts, just a regular speed. You don't have to do it slowly. Find that neutral spine. Peace fingers to hips. Activate that core. Pull those fingers in. Activate that transverse abdominis. Then you're going to pull your belly button to your spine slightly. Okay? So this is what I want you to do when I say in this course, activate your core, unless I say otherwise. This is what you're going to do before we lift our feet up off the ground. Okay? And eventually it will become, if it's not already, it will be very easy to just do it without having to put your fingers here, etc. All right, one last time. We're going to shake it out. Windshield wipe the hips or the knees. And then find that neutral spine, do the tilts and curls, and then find your neutral and activate your core. Okay, so tonight I'm not going to use the roller. And next week we'll add the roller in. Okay, so tonight my core is nice and strong and active. Yeah. Bring one left leg up to tabletop and then the other. So when I say tabletop, this means hips and knees are at a 90 degree with the feet. Okay. Now, if I start feeling this in my legs, in my hip flexors, it means that my core is not activated or it's just a little weaker than we might like. Okay. So often once you start working or you start holding it, you might start feeling it. All you have to do is come out, drop your feet to the ground, re-engage, bring it back up. Okay. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to have you bring your hands to your temples or behind your neck. We're keeping our shoulders on the ground to start. And I'm going to have you drop your right foot towards the earth, coming from the hip, not the low leg. So watch me. It's not this, it's this. Okay? All right, so we're going to do right leg out and in. Left leg out and in. And it doesn't have to touch the ground, but you can tap it if you want. And slow it down. And don't forget to breathe. So we're going right. We'll inhale, drop. Exhale, bring it up. Left, inhale, drop. Exhale, lift it up. Right, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more each side. So slow and controlled makes us really use our muscles. Hold it here for 3, for 2, for 1. Release one foot, release the other. Windshield wipe. Bring it back through neutral. Activate the core. We're going to lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other. This time, we're going to tuck our chin slightly. Shoulder blades come up off the ground. This is optional. If you don't feel ready for this, you keep them down. We're going to do this again. Here we go. We go right and up. Left and up. 2 and up. Left and up. We've got 3 and up. Left and up. Just one more. 4 and up. Left and up. Hold it here. Tuck the chin a little bit. Lift the shoulders up a little bit more. Hold it for 3, for 2, for 1. Release everything to the ground. Windshield wipe those knees out again. And bring it back. So when we do that on the foam roller, it makes us really engage our core even more. It just takes it and it adds a level of balance to it. So again, we can just add on with that. Okay, so I'm actually going to teach you something. This is something I also teach all my clients, and I'm actually going to sit up to show you this one. You guys can stay laying down. But this is something that you can do laying down, sitting in the car, washing dishes, watching TV. You can do it all the time. And whenever my low back is feeling a little out of sorts, I realize I'm like, ooh, I haven't been doing that. So I do it. I don't really know what to call this. Core activate. No, we already did core activation. I'll have to come up with a name. Should really have a name for this. Okay. So if you know what a Kegel is, give me a thumbs up. Okay. So a Kegel is something, it's a pelvic floor strengthener. It's that feeling of, this is the best way I know how to say it, when you're peeing and you stop and start the flow of urine. Okay, it's a great way to practice, actually. Okay, so it's that muscle that you're using, it's the perineum that you're using. So, what I want you to do is, and we're told to do those like when we're pregnant often and afterwards. So, what I want you to do is to do a Kegel. However, rather than just thinking of that muscle pulling up, I want you to think of the entire pelvic floor or pelvic bowl, as if you will, pulling up. So, the pelvic bowl actually is like musculature on the whole thing. And so, you want to really work on pulling that up. Okay, it's really actually crucial for low back stuff, pelvic floor. So, we're going to pull up on that pelvic floor. We're going to hold that up. As we hold that up, we're going to pulse our belly button to our spine and release 5 times. So we're going to pulse, release, pulse, release, pulse, release, pulse, release, pulse, release. And then you release everything, the pelvic floor and the abdominal. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Thumbs up or down? Yeah? Okay. So that, the 5 reps of the pulsing is actually 1. Oh, hi, kitty. So I always say, don't curse my name out when I tell you how many of these you need to do a day. 50. So you don't have to do them all at once. You can do 5, another 5, 10. Within 3 days of doing this, it will actually come really quickly and you'll be able to do them fast and it'll be like second nature and your low back will likely begin to feel better. Mine usually does. Okay. So let's just do a few more so that you can get some under your belt tonight. You don't have to do 50 today, but I am going to ask you next week if you did them. Okay, let's do it again. Pull up on the pelvic floor, belly button to spine, pulse release, pulse release, pulse release, pulse release, pulse release, let everything go. So that pulling up on the pelvic floor, actually in yoga, we call that Mula Bandha. Okay, that's the root chakra. And it's like what holds everything in. So we really don't want to just let it go. We want to keep everything up and strong. And then the pulsing the belly button turns it into what is called Uddiyana Bandha. It's sort of a whole nother lesson. Anyway, so that was 2. Let's let it go. 1 more and then we'll move on. Okay, ready? Here we go. Pull up on the pelvic floor and pulse, 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 and let go. Awesome. All right. I'm going to have you guys let's just for the last time, maybe not the last time, but let's just do some windshield wiping of the knee back and forth. And then you're going to hug your knees into your chest and allow your hands to come on top of your knees. And you can gently rock side to side on your sacrum, giving yourself a little low back massage. And then we're going to come back through center. We're going to do what are called butterfly circles. So you're going to open your knees out, bring them long, back together. Pull them in, out, long, back together. So just like some knee circles, right? So you can do like 3 to 5 in one direction, but keep it slow. We don't have to speed through this. And then we'll switch directions. So this is just kind of juicing up the hip joints a little bit. If we have our foam rollers next week, we'll do some rolling out of the hips and glutes that will feel really good. Okay, couple options. You can gently rock on your spine if that feels available. Come all the way up to sitting. Otherwise, roll over to one side or the other. And we're going to find ourselves, excuse me, in a tabletop position. Okay, so we're on our hands and knees. Our hips are over our knees. My wrists, elbows, and shoulders are in one nice line. All right, we're pressing the earth away. And we're going to just drop the belly, lift the hips, lift the chest, and gaze for cow pose. So this is actually really great, this cat-cow, for warming up the spine. As you exhale, curl into the upper spine, puff it up for cat pose. Inhale nice and slow as you peel back through to cow. And exhale as you curl it in for cat. Inhale, reach it through. Exhale, curl it in. Inhale, reach it through. Last time. Exhale, cat curl the upper spine. Bring the toes to touch, maybe widen the knees, and bring your hips back to your heels for child's pose. So this is another actually, underrated pose that's great for the low back. Now, if your hips are like coming nowhere near your feet, that's absolutely fine. A couple things that are super helpful would be a bolster or a pillow or sometimes just a rolled up blanket. And I would say make it comfortable. Okay. If this is not comfortable on your knees, we would come off of them. Let's take 3 nice, deep and even breaths here. And you can even open mouth exhale if that feels appropriate for you. The end of your next exhale, come back into tabletop position. And then come to sitting on your heels. And then we'll actually come back onto our spines and find that scarf or strap or nothing. We are going to just stretch out our hamstrings and hips a little bit before we go into some longer holding hip poses. Okay? So we'll come to laying on our back. You're going to keep your left foot on the ground, hug your right knee into your chest. If you have a strap or something, you're going to wrap it around your foot. If you don't, well, first I'm going to show you with the strap. So if you have the strap, you're going to lengthen your leg long and low, okay, and straight. Long and low and straight. The knee is straight if that's available in your knee, okay? And then once you have that, you can walk it up, pull it up, reach it up towards the sky. And you're going to go to that first or second point of resistance. Okay. And you're just going to hold there. And I'm actually going to time us on this. So let me do that. And if you don't have a strap, you can just hold the leg up, and you could put, if it comes just halfway and you can't reach the back of your thigh, you're just going to hold it. Otherwise, you can grab the back of the thigh. The strap is nice, gives you a little extra support here, but you want to relax your shoulders and relax the hands. Like, we don't need a death grip on them. And maybe you have a piece of your strap or blanket in each hand. And you're going to inhale. And as you exhale, visualize sending your breath to the back of your leg, to your hamstrings. I'm going to turn around. I just realized I should be doing that so you guys can see me. That was a silly mistake. So keep breathing and keep visualizing that breath going into your hamstrings. So oftentimes low back is caused from tight hamstrings. And or if you have a tight back, your hamstrings are going to be tight. It's kind of a, chicken or egg situation, but more often than not, it's the hamstrings, unless there's like a specific injury. If you feel like it's already softened a little bit, like you don't feel that intensity as much anymore, you can walk your foot towards you a little bit more to that next level of intensity. But no pain here, okay? No, like, oh my God, I feel that stretch so bad. It's not that. It's, I feel it, but I'm okay. And that's your connective tissue beginning to soften. Let's take the strap into the right hand. And we're going to, I like to leave my left knee bent. You may decide. I find this more therapeutic on the low back and hips. So as I open my right leg out to the right, I'm going to let my left knee open out to the left. And again, first or second point of resistance. No death grip. Okay, so you're actually using a little muscle energy here. I know I said we weren't going to work that hard. This is probably the hardest you're going to work, is the holding of the strap to hold your leg up. So if you feel like your left knee is coming up to compensate for the right leg lowering, bring the right leg out a little bit. And or straighten the left leg to see how that feels. Again, if you have any low back, strain, I would recommend keeping that left knee bent. This time you're going to inhale and visualize your breath going into the inner thighs, the adductors, adductors, we call them, the inner thighs. And you're just continuing to breathe, visualizing space and length in that inner thigh. Using the inner thigh and not your strap. Use that inner thigh to pull that leg back up through center. This time you will need to straighten the left leg. Strap comes in the left hand. You're going to take your right thumb and hook it into your right hip crease and pull that hips down. You might already have felt something happen. I did. My legs are trashed. All right, and then I'm going to cross left or right leg over to the left side, but I'm pulling that right hip down gently with my thumb. So I'm not letting the hip come up towards my head. I'm reaching it down away from me. Make sense? Give me a thumbs up. Thank you. So now we're probably feeling it down the outer edge of our upper leg, maybe even down into the calf. back of the calf. So we'll send our breath there. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. All right, so using the outer thigh this time, not the strap. In fact, give yourself a little slack on that strap. Pull that leg back up to midline. Bend the right knee into the chest. Remove your strap. And you can move that right knee out towards the armpit. Give yourself a little hip circle here. And then we'll come through center, right foot on the earth, left knee hugs into the chest. Strap around the foot, and we do it on the side. So, switch sides. Remembering that, oh my gosh, the scarf is long. The strap is on the sole of the foot, not the arch. I mean, not the sole, the ball of the foot, not the arch. And you're straight and strong and long. And the second your knee wants to bend, you stop there. Okay? And or you go to that first, maybe second point of resistance. But I would really start with the first and let it soften, and then you can always deepen. So visualize your breath going to whatever is calling out to you. If you have any pain or discomfort anywhere other than the back of your leg, attend to that. If you feel like it's softened, it usually takes about a minute plus for things to soften. And I forgot to set the timer, so we may be there, but I've set it now. But if you feel like it's softened and you want to take it a little deeper, just pull that foot towards your head. But you don't have to. You can stay exactly where you are, and it's still doing good things. Let's take about 3 to 5 nice, deep and even breaths here before we move on. And still focusing when you're breathing, I would still focus on that belly, low rib, and chest breath pattern because it allows us to take nice full breaths when we do that. When you feel ready or you've finished up with those breaths, we'll take straps into the left hand, open left leg out to the left, right knee out to the right. We're doing left leg, correct? Yeah, okay. And just remember, like if that right hip feels like it's coming up, bring the left leg out. It means you've gone too far. Sending that breath to the inner thighs. 3 nice, deep, and even breaths here. One more breath. Okay, remember we're using the inner thigh, not the strap. In fact, give yourself a little slack so you don't do it. Use that inner thigh, pull it all the way up through center. Right knee comes in, straighten the right leg. Strap comes into the right hand, left thumb to left hip crease. Pull that hip down. So whichever leg is up in the air, the thumb should be in that hip crease. Yeah. And then you're going to cross over, left leg over to the right. So that that left hip is guiding away from you. So you may even feel this in your glutes, right? And all the way down the leg, the calf. I feel it all the way down from my hips all the way down to the foot. Couple more breaths here. And we're going to use the outer thigh this time. Release the slack. Pull it all the way up through center. Bend that left knee. Remove your strap. Do some nice hip circles with that knee. And then bring it through center. Keep the left knee in, and then now bring the right knee in to meet it. And bring the knees out wide, sort of towards your armpits. Knees are out wide. Take the hands to the back of the thighs, even the backs of the knees, and bring the soles of the feet up towards the sky, if that's available. If it's not, they can come down low, and that's fine. And you could even just keep the hands on top of the knees if you prefer. Okay? If you can keep the knees bent and the soles of the feet up towards the sky, I'm going to invite you to reach your hands for the outside edges of your feet. And again, they may not reach. Calves are fine. Backs of legs are fine. Either one. And we're going to just hang out here. If you have your hands on your feet, you're going to roll your shoulders down, press feet into the hands, into the feet, and really plug the hips in. You're going to slightly reach your tailbone away from you, just a tiny, tiny bit. And you're going to breathe. I just had a thought. This might be helpful. Strap on the feet, and you can hold the strap if your hands don't reach the feet. This feels actually really good because it allows me to still plug my hips in. Just staying here for a couple more breaths. And then you're going to release the strap. Just let it drop down, fall to the side, whatever you want to do. Soles of the feet come together, knees out wide. Soles of the feet together, Knees out wide as you lower your feet all the way down to the ground. So your feet and legs are on the ground and the knees are out wide. I'm going to see if you can tell this way what's happening or this way. There you go. Hands back on the belly. Now, if your knees don't feel comfortable this way, this is another pose that should feel good. But sometimes it can be a lot on the hips. So if you have pillows or blocks to place under the knees, that can be very helpful. Okay. The end of your next exhale, take your hands to the outside edges of your legs or knees and guide your knees back up through center. You're going to walk your feet in towards your hips. Feet are in your hip width apart, knees are slightly apart as well. Arms are long at your sides. Take a nice inhale through the nose, open mouth, exhale. As we inhale, we're going to press into our feet, tilt our pelvis up towards us as we reach our knees away from us and lift our hips up off the ground for just a really gentle bridge here. And then you're going to lower back down. Inhale, reach it up, lift the hips up. Exhale, lower down. This time, if you have your block or book available, find that. Inhale, reach the hips up, and we're going to place our block or a book on the flat part, so flat and low. And it's not the low back, and it's not the tailbone. It's actually on the sacrum. Sharina, move yours down a little bit more, please, I think, from this angle. So it's the sacrum, which is the triangular bone at the base of the spine. So it should feel really amazing. And if it doesn't, move it around and see if it can feel amazing. Like move the block and see. And if you don't find a spot, then it might just not feel amazing for you. But ideally it will. So this is supported bridge. A really great pose for releasing the psoas muscle, which we will talk more about down the road. You can bring one leg up towards the sky and then the other for what pretend legs up the wall. This is a really great pose to do at the end of the day. If you're feeling stressed, if you have young children that are driving you crazy, have them do this. And they'll be like, well, what is happening? And they love it. It just allows all the blood to rush down. We're going to bend one knee and release one foot to the earth. Bend the other knee, release the other foot to the earth. You're going to inhale, reach the hips up, remove your block. And then lower all the way back down. You're going to hug your knees into your chest. And I'm going to invite you guys. We're going to end with a little nidra tonight. And I'm going to invite you to find your most comfortable, cozy Shavasana position. So Shavasana is corpse pose, the death of the practice, they call it, but we are going into Nidra. But here are some examples of what might be great. When we're laying on a floor, it can, during Nidra, it can get really hard and cold, even though it doesn't seem like it right now. So I would suggest a small, thin pillow or blanket under your head. I would suggest a pillow or bolster or roller underneath your knees. Okay. Pillows are great for this. And then I would suggest a blanket on top of you. You may even want socks, etc. Okay. And just so you know, I will be reading from a script. It's actually the script book that I have. And so I'm reading a Yoga Nidra script. And I will explain. So you're just getting all the wiggles out. You're taking the time to just get super comfortable. You can move, of course, if you have to. But, if we can get as comfortable as possible, that maybe we don't need to. And just go ahead and scan your whole body right now, making sure that you're as comfortable as can be. Your feet are relaxed, your legs, hips, back, arms, shoulders, jaw, forehead. Just checking in and making any further adjustments if it will help you be your most comfortable. And feel yourself settling in. Setting aside anything that's happened before even this moment. And setting aside anything that's happening after this practice. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, letting go of any tension, any fatigue. Let go of any thoughts, any need to do, just being. This is your time for yourself. Nothing to accomplish, just enjoying peace. Begin to experience the stillness even more. Know that you can move, but if it feels good, allow yourself to enjoy this stillness, this chance to do nothing. Resting just as you like. If it feels restful, allow these words to be received energetically rather than mentally, so that even the mind can rest now. In its place, there's effortless awareness. Feel all experience becoming more and more effortless, serene and effortless. Yoga Nidra has now begun. A series of energetic points will be named. Allow awareness to flow freely from point to point, like connecting points of light or energy currents. Start with awareness on the point between the eyebrows, experiencing energetically rather than physically. The point between the eyebrows, the hollow of the throat, the right shoulder joint, shifting freely, the right elbow joint, wrist joint, the right thumb, the tip of the index finger, tip of the middle finger, tip of the ring finger, tip of the little finger, experiencing energetically the right wrist joint, elbow joint, shoulder joint, hollow of the throat, over to the left shoulder joint, elbow joint, wrist joint, the left thumb, tip of the index finger, tip of the middle finger, tip of the ring finger, tip of the little finger, back up to the left wrist joint, elbow joint, shoulder joint, hollow of the throat, the heart center, the right side of the chest, the heart center, the left side of the chest, the heart center, the navel center, tip of the tailbone, the right hip joint, right knee joint, ankle joint, the right big toe, tip of the second toe, tip of the third toe, tip of the fourth toe, tip of the baby toe, back up to the right ankle joint, knee joint, hip joint, tip of the tailbone, sweeping awareness to the left hip joint, left knee joint, ankle joint, the left big toe, tip of the second toe, tip of the third toe, tip of the fourth toe, tip of the baby toe, back up to the left ankle joint, knee joint, hip joint, tip of the tailbone, the navel center, the heart center, hollow of the throat, the eyebrow center, the eyebrow center, the eyebrow center. Now become aware of the breath. No need to change the breath in any way, simply bringing awareness to your breath. As you exhale, feel that you let go of any fatigue, stress, tension. As you inhale, feel that you're pulling in boundless energy. Exhale, letting go of fatigue, stress, and tension. Inhale, filling up with boundless energy. Exhale from the crown of the head down to the toes. Inhale from the toes up to the crown of the head. Exhale from the crown of the head all the way down to the ankles. Inhale from the ankles up to the crown of the head. Exhale from the crown of the head down to the knees. Inhale from the knees up to the crown of the head. Exhale from the crown down the spine to the tailbone. Inhale from the tailbone up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down the spine to the navel. Inhale from the navel up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down the spine to the heart center. Inhale from the heart center up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down to the throat center. Inhale from the throat center up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down to the bridge between the nostrils. Inhale from the bridge between the nostrils up to the crown. Now to the third eye. Exhale down to the bridge between the nostrils. Inhale from the bridge between the nostrils up to the third eye. Back to the crown. Exhale down to the bridge between the nostrils. Inhale from the bridge between the nostrils up to the crown. Exhale from the crown down the spine to the throat center. Inhale from the throat center up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down the spine to the heart center. Inhale from the heart center up the spine to the crown. Exhale from the crown down the spine again to the heart center. Inhale into the heart center. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, heart center. Exhale, heart center. Feel that the whole body is breathing in and out. Inhaling cosmic energy from all around you. Exhaling energy blocks. Inhaling energy. Exhaling any blocks. If it's not already there, bring your awareness back to your heart center. Notice the heart rising on inhalation and falling on exhalation. Feel your body peacefully resting and feel the support beneath you. Notice the temperature of the space you're in. Notice the sounds. I'm going to invite you to stay here as long as you would like, transitioning to wherever you're going after this. Hopefully it's bed. I'll see you next week. Om Shanti Shanti Om. May peace be with you now and always. Namaste.